and welcome to this special edition of Talk Time India Votes 2019 series. My guest today is the MNF leader and the Chief Minister of Mizoram, Mr. Zoramthanga. Zoramthanga, welcome to this special edition of Talk Time.
Thank you.
This is election time once again, but this time you are the Chief Minister. After having won the assembly elections very, very comfortably, how is the feeling ahead of the Lok Sabha elections?
Well, here in Mizoram, we have only one seat of Lok Sabha. And then the main fighters are, one is the MNF, and the others are the Congress and the ZPM, the other parties combined together as an independent candidate. And there are some small, minor candidates.
Right.
But they are not worth mentioning. The main contestant is between the Congress and their allies and then the MNF. And I believe that we shall win a comfortable majority here in the coming election of the Lok Sabha.
Right. Now, during the assembly elections 4 months ago, the MNF was fighting the Congress, the ZPM and the other political parties. You are, of course, the front runner, the MNF at that point in time. But now, your candidate, Mr. Lal Rosanga, is pitted against 5 candidates, but mainly between the combined candidate of the Congress and the ZPM. Are you a little anxious this time?
Well, I am very optimistic, and I am sure, because as the saying goes here in Mizoram, we are fighting the election not only after the dawn, but after the sunrise, when everything is clear. That is, when the new government of the MNF is installed here for a period of 5 years, that is one term. So people, knowing all this, they normally do not like to elect an MP candidate from the opposition. So the ruling MNF candidate, Mr. Lal Rosanga, I believe will be surely elected this time. As normally how things used to happen here in Mizoram in the previous years.
Okay. Now you see, leaders of both the Congress as well as the ZPM, they are basically saying that this alliance is to defeat the MNF, which they consider to be the same as the BJP. The allegation by the Congress and the ZPM is that the MNF and BJP are two sides of the same coin. How do you respond, Zoramthanga?
Well, this is just an allegation which they have no other alternative points. As far as siding with the BJP is concerned, together with the ZPM, at that time they were the ZNP and MPC. Now both of them combined together to form a ZPM. Yeah. In 2014, in the month of July, we have already sent a letter signed by each of the leaders of the political party, affiliating ourselves in the NDA in 2014, the month of July.
Right.
And that still stands. And a few days ago, Lal Doma said that they have withdrawn from that. But nobody knows whether they have withdrawn or otherwise. Simply in the last minute, he said that they have withdrawn. I do not know.
You are saying, Mr. Chief Minister, that the ZPM, or for that matter the Congress, which had an alliance with the BJP in the Chakma Autonomous Council, you are saying that both the Congress and ZPM have no moral right to accuse the MNF of hobnobbing with the BJP.
No, not at all. Rather, it is they who officially made an alliance in the election and in the formation of the government with the BJP.
Right. Now, you see, the MNF won, your party under your leadership won the last assembly elections 4 months ago very convincingly. Now, 4 months is too short a time to judge the performance of any government. But Zoramthanga, do you still think that the people are going to judge, going to assess the performance of your government in the last 4 months before casting their vote on April 11th?
To a very great extent, it will be, because we have been running this government. Practically, the oath-taking ceremony was on the 15th of December, and then followed by the Christmas and New Year celebration, in which no government work actually performs.
True.
So practically it is less than 3 months that we have been going on. And at the same time, about a month ago, the Election Code of Conduct was in effect, and we cannot do anything. But nevertheless, within these hardly 2 months, people say that the works of the 10 years of the Congress is less than the works of the MNF, which was done during the 3 months. Of course, we shall not equalize the 10 years performance with our 3 months performance. But the point is that the Congress has not done much to the people. For example, maintenance of the road is so bad that people say that all the roads are in the ICU. Now, within these 3 months, we are trying our level best, at least the patching and resurfacing, and people are praising us that which the Congress government cannot do during the 10 years. The MNF government has done it within the 3 years. So judging from this, I believe that we are getting a very good response and a very good positive answer from the people for the coming election.
You see, Mizoram has only one MP. My question is, how important is the lone MP, or how important is this one seat in the national context as well as for Mizoram?
Well, certainly we have only one lone MP. If this MP is elected from my party or any other party, it depicts the people mentality as far as the concept of the that party in the eye of the people. It is important in the political concept, number one. Number two, in the present scenario of Indian Parliament, even one MP is very important. Therefore, it can contribute a lot there in the formation of the government itself also. Therefore, in order to show the mentality, how the people look upon the other parties here in the eye of the election, so it will depict itself the people's mindset in the present political scenario.
Right.
And at the same time, also, if we can have an MP in all our dealing with the central government, they can be very helpful. Of course, in the parliament, it may not be that helpful, but nevertheless, in the transaction of the working of the government with the central government,
absolutely,
in the matter of the project, they can be very helpful.
Right. Now, Zoramthanga, for the sake of clarity for my viewers, the MNF is still a part of the NDA. Is that correct?
Yes, we are still part of the NDA, but we said that if the NDA are still going on for implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Bill, my High Command will have to sit together to review maybe for the withdrawal for the NDA, if the Citizenship Amendment Bill is still implemented by the NDA.
But the BJP leaders, including the BJP National President Mr. Amit Shah, he has made it very clear, including the BJP manifesto that has been released, it has made very clear that the BJP is definitely going to take up the matter of Citizenship Amendment Bill and get it passed if it comes back to power at the center. That is very clear, Mr. Chief Minister.
Yes, in the election manifesto, they have made it clear that they are intending to implement the Citizenship Amendment Bill. But let us see the outcome of the election. the BJP alone may not be able to form the government, which I believe, but only with the help of other political parties. The NDA, at the best, they may form the government. And if they still insist trying to win over the heart of their other political alliance in the NDA for the implementation of this citizenship amendment bill, then we'll have to withdraw from the NDA.
Right. Now, what about the NEDA? Because does the MNF consider itself to be a part of NEDA? Because the BJP leadership in the last 2 to 3 weeks, they have been saying that NEDA is only a development alliance for the northeastern region. Can you please clarify?
Well, NEDA actually is the same as NDA. In the center,
right,
it is National Democratic Alliance. Here in the Northeast, it is Northeast Democratic Alliance. Therefore, it is more or less the same.
Okay. Now, people would like to know which is the MNF's bigger rival. Is it the BJP or is it the Congress? Let's talk about the Mizoram context.
In the Mizoram context, BJP are negligible. And even now, quite a lot of people of the BJP have left the party.
Yeah.
And in thousands, they have joined the MNF. Therefore, they are not the main opponent here. It is still the Congress who are trying to malign the MNF, and it is still the Congress versus the MNF. And the Congress are siding together with the ZPM. BJP here in Mizoram is negligible. Their important leaders, quite a lot of them, have come to the MNF side.
Okay. Now, in this whole big fight, between the BJP, the Congress and other large parties that have a pan-India presence, where does the small regional parties stand, particularly those parties from the Northeast, including your party, the MNF? What role? This is a general question to you because you are a very important leader representing the entire Northeast, not only Mizoram, Zoramthanga. What is the role of the small regional parties in the Northeast? Can they play a bigger role in the national context?
Well, in the national context, we can play a very important role. As far as the number of the parliament members is concerned, among the 543 MPs in the central, the Northeast have very few MPs. In that context, we are not as important as that. But nevertheless, we occupied a very strategic, important land here in the northeastern India. Right from the chicken neck corner of the Assam up to the Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura, and even Meghalaya and Assam were occupying a very big importance land here in the whole of India. And most of us belong to the other ethnic group, the Mongoloid group. Well, the rest of India are either the Dravidian group or the Aryan group. Therefore, they have to consider from this point of view of the importance of the Northeast India. Therefore, here, because of the discontent on the mindset of the people, there is trouble in Arunachal Pradesh, in Meghalaya, in Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura all along. It's a very, very politically sensitive area. And all sided somewhere there in the northern part by China, in the east by Myanmar, in the west by Bangladesh and so on. Therefore, it occupies a very strategic political importance, not only from the population and the parliament member basis. Indian government has to think of it as a special case.
Now, in the last 2 weeks that election tempo has gained in this country, we have seen political parties and political leaders, they are only engaged mostly, that is the trend, is engaged in negative campaign rather than talking about, or rather than raising issues that affect the ordinary people, are you concerned about this particular trend? Okay, everybody fights an election to win, but at the end of the day, it is the people's interest who is the political parties and the political candidates are supposed to represent. But this does not seem to be happening. Are you concerned about this?
Well, during the election, here in the local area, we have to fight each other. But when the issue of the national cause, when we say the national cause, we belong to different nationalities, Mizo nationalities, and then Manipur, Nagaland, Assam, etc., etc. Because India is consists of different nationalities. So we call it in the adjective form as a national. So when we come to the Mizo nationalism side, all the Mizo people are coming together. The same thing with the Nagas, same thing with Manipur, and to a very great extent, same thing with the Assamese, Meghalaya, Tripura, etc. also. Therefore, even though in the local level, we may be fighting against each other in the field of election, but taking it as a whole in the cause of the people, the ethnic group, the nationalism as a whole, we are with one accord. Therefore, when the Northeast as a whole is taken into consideration, even in the implementation of this citizenship amendment bill, the Meghalayas, the Assamese also, not apart from the Assamese BJP, Arunachal, Nagaland, and we all come together because it is very dangerous for the northeastern people.
What, according to you, are the 3 to 4 major concerns of people in this country? After all, India is the world's largest democracy, and these elections are described as the biggest festival of democracy.
Well, you know, India certainly is one of the, not only one of, but the biggest democratic country in the world. But at the same time, India consists of different nationalities and different ethnic groups. As I have said, in the north, there are the Aryans. In the south, there are the Dravidians. In the east, there are the Mongoloids, taking it as a whole. But we have to be together as India. Therefore, considering all this, India in the center, in order to maintain the integrity of India, one has to think of different nationalities in which different people are there. Therefore,
different aspirations.
One cannot impose, one cannot impose its will upon the other ethnic group and other nationalities group. Therefore, it has to be secure.
So I think that is, you have made a very important point, Mr. Chief Minister. You said that integrationist policy or policy of assimilation is not going to work, where we are a diverse nation, but every distinct identity, culture, traditions has to be respected of the different. Is that what you are trying to say?
Yeah, and still I will say that India will be it will have a best integration if it is still a federation. I still prefer federation, and I sincerely wish that it should be a perfect federation like the United States or other countries. So then the integrity of India will be much more solid. If the central government is trying to centralize the form of administration, the more they try it, then the more it will react, it will backfire.
Now, we have 25 Lok Sabha seats. Now, okay, it's all right. There are many political parties. Ultimately, the Northeast is going to elect 25 MPs to the Lok Sabha. But we have seen that, you know, the MPs, our MPs have never in the past being able to cut through party lines and talk in a single voice or united voice for the common interest of the Northeast. How do you look? Is it possible, or is it too utopian idea to expect these 25 MPs to unite and talk about the Northeast? Is it possible?
You see, Some are Garo, some are Khasi, some are Assamese, Nagas, Manipur, Mizoram, etc.,
Right.
etc. So in the political field, we cannot talk on the eve of election. In the political oriented ideology, we cannot talk together in one voice on the eve of election especially. But when the survival and the integrity and the survival of the nationalities or the Northeast is concerned, we are with one accord. Because we know very well in the final year that there in the Northeast, more than 1 billion Chinese people we are on the border. And in the East, there are 60 million people of the Burmese. And in the West, there are 160 million Bangladesh are there. It is only connected with a chicken neck land with India. Therefore, Indian government has to be very cautious of this geographical strategy. Simply because of BJP is having some political party people are there, Congress is having, regional parties are having there, simply that cannot be the simple conclusion of those things.
Now, I will ask you only one or two more questions, Mr. Chief Minister.
Yes.
Now, you see, floor crossing. We have seen people, candidates, aspiring candidates, they do not waste any time to quit the party and join another political party the moment they are denied tickets. Now, what about ideology? That means if you can quit your party and join a rival party just because you are denied ticket, what does it signify? We have seen in Arunachal Pradesh so many BJP members quitting and joining the NPP. We have seen NPF MLAs joining the NDPP in Nagaland. Congress people deserting and joining other parties in Manipur. What is going on? And what about the voters? Because the voters ultimately look at the candidates and their parties. So do you agree that ideology is fast disappearing actually?
Well, it is the human weakness. As Abraham Lincoln once said that he was leading two of his young boys who were both crying. His friends asked him, what is the matter? He said, it's simply the human weakness. I got 3 apples and both of them want to have 2. So something like that here in the Northeast, when one does not get a ticket in one party, he shifted his party and goes there. It's a human weakness. But it is the duty of the leader and to bring together those parties and fight out those difficulties. The same thing is everywhere in the world. Of course, in the world, when I say in the world, it may be too large. But here in India, that often happens. But here in the Northeast, as I have said, today they may be Congress, tomorrow they may be BJP and so on. Because of the human weakness, things happen. But as far as Mizoram is concerned, we the MNF are not only the political party, it is the movement-based political ideology. Therefore, right from the beginning, in the 1960s, almost up to 60 years, the party has been going on. And it still survived the most difficult task. And we're trying to set an example in the eye of other northeastern states, in which, to a very great extent, I believe that we did. Therefore, these are the human weakness in the political field, and it's the duty of every leader to see them, to bring them and flock them together. But in the end, as I have said, because the blood is thicker than the water, therefore, whether we are this or that, but when the survival as a distinct nationalities comes into question, we all flock together to fight against this.
So, are you expecting traditionally there's been a very large turnout during elections in Mizoram, most literate states in the country. People are very, very conscious. What kind of a turnout are you expecting on Thursday, April 11th?
Well, normally, as has been going on for the last many years, MLA election turnout used to be better than the MP election, because the bigger the election and then the turnout becomes a little thinner, and then it will be less than the turnout of the MLA election.
Okay. My last question to you, Zoramthanga. What is your prediction? What could be the verdict of the people of India on the 23rd of May? What is your gut feeling?
Well, from here in the remotest corner side of India, it's very difficult to have a meaningful prediction. What I conclude only is from the televisions and other media sources. Here last night also, I also simply saw the prediction in the television that the NDA will have the biggest numbering between 200 to 270. But I do not know, it differs. And then the second may be the UPA or the other third group, as the saying goes. Therefore, I am doubtful any single group will be able to form a government of their own. But with taking a little from this and that, they may try to form the government. It's very difficult for me to make a meaningful prediction. But anyhow, it will not be like the last election. And they'll need to invite together other political parties.
But do you think, whichever wins, it's a different matter. At the end of the day, it is the verdict of the people. We don't know. But do you fear that money power is going to play a big role after the results come out? I'm not talking about NDA or UPA. I'm just talking to you, generally asking you this question. Are you afraid, do you fear that money power is going to play a big role in government formation after the results are out?
Well, it has played in the last time. And therefore, when I said last time, in the days gone by, it used to play. But this time I do not know. In India, in the central India, it used to play sometimes. But when there are some groups of political parties that can form the government without playing a money power for the formation of the government. But when it becomes necessary, I believe that sometimes it plays. This time, depending upon the number of the MPs, it may play also. But in a place like Mizoram, post-election, it never plays that part.
Absolutely. We all want that there should be a free and fair election and that the exercise passes off peacefully. Zoramthanga, once again, thank you very much indeed for taking time out to speak to me on Talk Time.
Okay, thank you very much, Wasbir.